Hello, I'm Megan. Welcome back to Greenwood Grown. I have been missing for a little while. I've been sick, and I don't get sick very often, but when I do, I get taken down hard. So I'm actually still not feeling 100%, but I'm feeling good enough that I wanted to start organizing my seeds and start making a plan for the garden for next year. So come take a look with me what that looks like. So here's what I have laid out on my table. I have a notebook and pen so I can write down notes and make a plan. The seeds that are set out on the trays are organized by category, and they are either going to be put back into the seed book or this basket, or maybe this basket. And typically how I start planning for my garden is that I start the plan with the earliest things that I work with. And on a usual year, that's going to start with microgreens. And I have my microgreen seeds. I have sunflowers, peas, and alfalfa. Those are the three microgreens that I have grown, that I'm currently comfortable growing. We like all of those three. I may expand into something like radishes or basil or something with a little bit more kick, but right now we really appreciate the big hardy sunflower sprouts, and then the taste of the pea sprouts, which taste like peas, they taste like fresh peas, and the alfalfa sprouts, which are just like normal sprouts that you buy in a grocery store. So I'll do a separate video on those about like how I do them and how I grow them in the winter, but they are the first plants that I grow in the winter in my greenhouse. The next thing that would come up are tomatoes and peppers. So I have ordered some new tomato varieties. A couple of new ones I'm going to try this year are Paul Robeson, which tons of gardeners rave about. I've never grown it, so we're going to try it. And Dr. White Cheese. I still have the Sungolds that I grew last year in a race against the starts that I got from my friend Linda. By the way, neither one of them ever really produced tomatoes. They were just too late in the season for where I live. I got one tomato off of one of the starts, so that not the starts, sorry, off of one of the cuttings that I rooted. So if anyone won the race, it was the cutting. But I really missed growing Sungolds this year, so I'm going to grow some Sungolds. And then some seeds were gifted to me, and I need to decide what to do with them. So I want to look up these varieties and kind of see what people think about them. The varieties are, no, I haven't grown any of them. These are sweeties. If this is like a sweet 1000, then I am interested in growing that. The rainbow blend is a rainbow mix of colors. I've never grown that to have a different tomato produce multiple different colors. It is, when I first saw it, I thought that it was, oh, it is. I was like, I don't understand how this same tomato plant is producing a bunch of different colors. It's not. This is a mixture of a bunch of different seeds, a bunch of different varieties: Sundrop, Gold Nugget, Chocolate Cherry, which is my favorite, Sweetie, Green Grape, Super Snow White, Bicolor Cherry, but you don't get to know which one is which, obviously. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to have to think about those. There are some varieties in here I very much would like to try, but I would like to know that that's what I'm growing, because there's 100 milligrams worth of seeds, so there's probably 40 or 50 seeds in here. I don't want to grow them all and I can't bring them all to fruiting maturity to find out which one is which. So not sure what I'm gonna do with that. Okay, now I've taken the pages out of my binder that have the tomatoes in them, and I'm gonna go through them. So I have a package of San Marzano. I don't like San Marzano, and it's not because it's not a great tomato. Tons of people grow it as a great paste tomato. Excuse me. But even though these are less susceptible to blossom end rot, in the Pacific Northwest where I live, blossom end rot is just a thing with paste tomatoes, and I just don't grow them anymore. San Marzano, I tried and tried and tried for years, and I finally have decided that, well, here's what happened is I went and asked a professional tomato grower who grows for restaurants and markets, and she's like, no, we don't do paste tomatoes anymore. And that's when I gave up. So these are left over. I'm gonna give them, I do know some people are able to put them in pots and baby them and get them to grow. So I am gonna put them in my To Trader giveaway. Brandywine, y'all, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm not gonna grow brandywine this year. I don't think. This is a pink brandywine. They're just not my favorite tomato. I just have ones that I like better, and I want to try the Dr. Veggie and the Paul Robeson, and so I don't really think I have room for brandywine this year, which I've always grown a brandywine, so, you know, never say never with anything. But my brandywines, I'll get, this package is older, which with tomato seeds, it doesn't matter. This is a 2011. With tomato seeds, it really doesn't matter. It's going in my To giveaway pile. Okay, I have pineapple, which of course I will be growing. This is my new favorite. I fell completely in love with it this year, and so it's going into my to start bag. Same with chocolate cherry. It's my favorite cherry tomato, along with Sungolds, so I am definitely needing both of those. Kellogg Breakfast is the same. I have grown Kellogg Breakfast for 2 years, I think. I really like them. They have good flavor. They produce well for me. They're sort of like replacing, one of the things that's replacing my the brandywines. Isis candy is not a favorite of mine, so it's going in my To giveaway. The German pink, it's like I like them. I like the German pink. Do I like it as well as I like the pineapple or the Kellogg Breakfast? I think I'll keep it and maybe start one. We'll see what I decide when I get my tomatoes started. And that's the end of my tomatoes. So are there any varieties that I want to add? I already added them, so no. So I will be growing, well, I have to decide what to do with the rainbow blend, and then the sweeties and the Moscovich. I would like to grow some either, like if the sweeties are similar to the Sweet 1000s, then I will grow those. Leo, my son, really liked those in another gardener's garden, and then I might find a yellow pear that I like. He also really liked those, and I am always in favor of growing what my family is interested in, what they want to eat. And then the Moscovich, I think I will. I generally don't grow early varieties. I think I'm gonna choose to give that one away. But the sweeties I'm gonna put in as a maybe. And so the only tomatoes that I'm looking for will be either the Sweet 1000s or the Sweet Millions or whatever they're called, and maybe a yellow pear variety. And then I have Sungolds, Paul Robeson, Dr. Veggie, German pink, Kellogg Breakfast, chocolate cherry, and pineapple. I'm gonna throw the rainbow blend in there. I just can't say no. Why is that so appealing to me? Oh, who knows what you're gonna get? I don't know why that is. Later on, I'll probably regret that decision, but I put it in there. So tomatoes are decided. with the one exception is I'm gonna write in my notes to see if those sweeties are similar enough to the sweet millions, sweet thousands, whatever they're called. So the next thing that I would be working with, and I would start at the same time as my tomatoes, are my peppers. And I'm going to definitely grow the same two types that I grew this year, and those are called orange sweeties and Italian sweets. I got them from Territorial, I'm pretty sure, but I'm gonna have to buy them because I have no pepper seeds of any kind anywhere in my seed collection. So I'm gonna make a note in a separate list of seeds I need to buy, a note that I need to buy pepper seeds. For peppers that I just want 1 or 2 plants of, like a cayenne, that I grow for a spice and not as to be used as a fruit, I will just buy starts from one of my local garden centers for those. The other thing that I'm going to start really early with my tomatoes and my peppers are eggplants. This is the only variety that I have really had good success with and I really like, and we don't eat a ton of eggplant since I'm the only person that likes it. So I will just continue growing this one variety. It is called Long Purple. So normally the next thing that I would start would be herbs, specifically a lot of basil I'm going to be growing this year, and alliums. Not garlic, the garlic's already in the ground, but onions. I prefer to grow onions from seed. I feel like they bulb up better. And so I start them from seed in my greenhouse. But I wanted to learn to grow shallots this year. And the shallots have different instructions that I'm used to. Onions pop up really quickly. They germinate pretty quickly. And they get big pretty quickly. And it really, my experience has been that I can plant them and they're pretty much ready to go into the ground 3 weeks later. So I plant them a little bit later than my tomatoes. But these alliums say 10 to 12 weeks before my average last frost rate. Now that makes sense because you can plant them outside 4 to 6 weeks before. So I would be starting these more around the time that I could actually plant them out. And I don't want to direct sow them because I want to have more input as to how they grow. So I'm going to make a note of this, that this actually needs to be started right away. And along with one of the basil varieties that I have also says that it needs to be started really early. It's this purple ruffles basil. It says to start indoors 8 to 12 weeks before last frost, and its days to maturity is 60 to 90 days. That doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe I'll start some really early, and then I'll start some with the rest of my basil when I normally would, about 6 weeks before I would plant it out, which would be mid-May. Now that a lot of these say to plant them really, like to start them really early, but a lot of them don't. They're all kind of all over the place. I don't know. I really haven't grown a lot of different varieties of basil. I picked up quite a few new ones to try. Purple ruffles, pecorino. What else do I have here? I mean, this is just regular. This is like what I would normally grow. Is the two varieties I would grow are like big, large leaf and Thai basil. Both of them are 4 to 6 weeks before transplanting. So they would be the next thing that I would plant after my tomatoes. But some of these don't say that. So, and some of them do. So interesting. I'm gonna try going with what I know. Although if I think about it, maybe I'll start a few with these shallots and see if they need a full, 12 weeks before. That's a full 4 months in the greenhouse. That's a long time. I don't grow anything in the greenhouse, but I am going to start some flowers that early this time. So we'll see. We'll see. Some of the other new herbs that I'm trying are St. John's wort. It's 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost date, so I'm going to throw that in with my tomatoes. And fenugreek, and it's 3 to 4 weeks, so it's going to go with the basil. And that's kind of how so I have rubber banded my tomatoes together, and I'm going to throw the St. John's wort in with the tomatoes. And then I know these all get started at the same time. So I'm going to go through my herbs and choose which ones I'm going to grow. I'm going to grow a lot of basil this year because I want to try some different varieties, both for flavor but also for the flowers. I want to grow basil for flowers this year. Okay, so I have the, and now I have the herbs and the alliums sorted. So regular Italian basil, lime basil, lemon basil, cinnamon basil. Gonna grow a lot of basil this year. Dark opal basil, pecorino basil, and purple ruffles basil. I also have tulsi. I'll start fennel. This is bulb fennel. I didn't have a lot of success growing bulb fennel this year. It's something that either they didn't get enough water, but I will make a note that I need to read more about how to grow bulb fennel. But I used so much of the foliage in my flower arrangements that it's worth, and I saved these seeds. It's definitely worth growing again, because I just did, I used it a lot, even though I wasn't really successful growing the bulbs. Thyme, always trying to grow more thyme. I never can grow enough. And then I was given some Walla Walla onions. In theory, they should grow great here. I've never actually had great success with them, but somebody gave me some packets of them. I'm gonna try them again. Oh, that's another package of basil. And then I have some green bunching onions, fenugreek, and I have some parsley. I'm not really sure where this came from. I think it was gifted to me. I threw in a single basil plant because I'm not a big fan of basil, but it turns out that a lot of other people are, and I like to grow things for my friends and neighbors as well. And so I'm gonna grow a few more parsley plants this year. So I have all of those there at my 4 to 6 week mark. Somewhere I have a rubber band. Guess I have to go find another one. Okay, I have that group of seeds. I'm gonna rubber band them and put them in my basket. And those are ready for when it's time to plant in the spring. Okay, and now moving further forward into the future, the next thing that I will put my hands on, the next thing that I will deal with are the first things that I'm gonna direct sow. And those are gonna be peas, beets, carrots if I can manage them. I'm terrible at growing carrots. In fact, let me find my carrots. I'm gonna put them with my beets so that maybe I'll have a better outcome. Okay, I pulled my carrots out, and I'm gonna put them together with my beets. And you notice I have a lot of beet seeds. I go through a lot of beet seeds. When I see them on sale, I buy them. I'm not super particular about varieties. I kind of like them all. I am gonna try these golden, I've never grown golden beets, and somebody gave me some seeds for them, so I'm gonna try those. I really just like beets of all varieties. So I'm gonna grow a lot of them. Beets are something you need a lot of seeds for. They're not like a tomato where you plant one seed and you get thousands of tomatoes off of it. You get one beet for every seed. So I always pick up beet seeds when I see them. And I really love beets. I plant them in both the spring and in the summer. So I may not go through all of these, but I'm gonna just go ahead and you'll see some of them are open. And that's fine. I will plant the open ones first and then move into the closed ones. And there's something that I definitely do multiple succession plantings for. And then carrots, oh, I am not good at growing carrots. And the one time I successfully grew carrots, I prepared an entire bed for them and grew them as a monoculture, which is not how I grow things typically. But maybe we'll have to go back to making an exception because I do love growing my own carrots. I am interested in being more intentional about growing carrots. I've always just grown the Danvers or the Nantes or whatever I can find. But recently saw a YouTube video, and I can't remember who did it, but it was one of the seed companies that talked about if you have trouble growing carrots, I'm pretty sure that's the title that got me. Do you struggle to grow carrots? I'm like, I do. That there are a lot of different varieties of carrots. And just to be more intentional about the type of carrots that I grow. So I'm gonna make a note in my notes to maybe buy some more carrot seeds in more intentional, like in more specific varieties that are good for my area. So those will be some of the first things that I plant out in the spring in March. Okay, the other thing that I do in late March is, well, the other things, there's a couple of things, is I plant a chaos garden. I do it every year. It delights me. I know it's not the most efficient or effective way to grow greens, but it makes me so happy. And you should grow in ways that make you happy. So I will take all of, I have some kale. Kale's the only brassica that I throw in there, but I like baby kale. Radishes. Radishes are the same as beets. You get one radish per seed, so you should always pick up lots of radish seeds. I do have ones that I like, but I have planted so many that I don't know what they are, so I probably should be more intentional about my radishes too. But if you just throw them in a garden bed and hope for the best, I'm not that particular. I just like radishes. I have grown really good, delicious sweet ones and wondered what they were and thought, that's too bad I don't know what they were. That's the downfall of being a chaotic gardener. I have Swiss chard in a couple of different varieties, cilantro, red mustard, lettuce, arugula, and 2 other types of lettuce. And I will take all of these seeds, and there's a lot of them. All of these packets of seeds, every seed in all of these packets, and I'll mix them together. I'll prepare one bed. I will mix them all together into a bowl, and I will broadcast them over that bed, and that's how I grow my spring greens. And it's just whatever comes up. And I usually get a lot of greens from doing that, along with a lot of radishes. You'll notice that in my chaos garden, there's a green missing. Well, there's a lot of greens missing. I don't grow all of them, but one that I do grow and is missing is spinach. And I do have a lot of spinach here. Oh, there are 2 missing spinach. There's a lot of spinach. I won't grow all of this, but I am going to, I think I was gifted these tapes. And I think I tried them in the fall and they came up, but either something ate them or they just didn't do well. But I think I'm gonna try them again because they did germinate. The variety is just the Bloomsdale Longstanding, one of the like old standards. And I have a couple of those in here. And then I'm gonna try the New Zealand spinach again, which I didn't get to, it didn't germinate when I grew it this summer. I think that it was too hot to germinate. And then the other is the Marvel of Four Seasons lettuce, which I want to grow in my green stock, I think, or in a container instead of in the Chaos Garden, because I just want it by itself to see if I like it, to see if it's something that I want to grow regularly in a more intentional way. So those are not going into the Chaos Garden. The reason the spinach doesn't grow in there is because everything outcompetes it. I don't know why, but if I put spinach in the Chaos Garden, it never comes up. So it has to be grown separate from that. So those are greens that will be direct sown at the same time. I may also start some spinach and some Marvel of Four Seasons lettuce. I'll just make that decision as I see what what my time resources are. And then the last thing are peas. There's a lot of peas. I have a problem with peas, and if you have a solution, please let me know, because I love peas. And here's my problem. So does my dog River. As soon as she knows that there are pea plants anywhere in my garden, she's such a good dog. She won't go into my garden for anything. Like, I put up those little wire fences just to let them know, hey, these are not places for you to go. And both my dogs respect them, and they don't go into my garden. Except River loves peas. She got a taste of them as a puppy, and just as soon as she knows that they're there, she just rips the plants out and eats them all. And I replant them and she eats them. And she's going on 3 years, and I've had no peas for the 2 years that I've had her as a dog. I don't know what to do about this. So if you have any solutions or any ideas on how, I don't really have like a space that she doesn't have access to. I've tried to think, like, could I grow them in rain gutters up high? Could I grow them up on a fence? She's a big dog. She can get to almost anywhere that I can think of. And also, I don't know that peas do that great in containers, at least not that shallow of containers. Anyway, I'm still brainstorming that. And if you can think of a solution for how I can grow peas that my dog can't get to them, please let me know, because I am definitely struggling with that. And that is basically the first half of my gardening season for the 2022 year planned. I have a list of the handful of seeds that I need to buy. I only have three varieties of seeds that I need to purchase. I had everything else either from sales where I'd purchased them, or just I'm always collecting seeds, and so I had most everything that I wanted or needed. And sometime in the early part of the season, I'll sit down and do this again for my direct sowing. There are a couple other things that'll get added in here. Potatoes get planted for the first time in March, and so I will need to plan for a space for those. And that's pretty much it. That's how I plan my garden, is I start at the beginning and think, what do I need to do at this point in time? What do I need to start? And what do I need to plan a space for? Now, I haven't drawn out my garden and planted each space. That will be the next step, but that's basically like the most of the work done for starting in January. I have everything I need in a basket, ready to go, ready to plant. And then I'll do that for the next round of plantings for summer plantings, beans and squash and winter squash and things like that later on in the season.
And right now they just get put away in my seed binder, and that's it. I hope that was interesting and useful or helpful. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. If you have something that you think that I should try growing, let me know. I'm always interested. The only things I'm really experimenting with this year are shallots. I have a couple of new varieties of winter squash I'm gonna grow. Oh, and then of course the new basils, because a lot of my experimentation this year is going to be in flowers. And that's a different video because there's a whole lot of flower seeds here. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, and thanks for joining me. I will talk to you next time.